Good morning everyone. Today we will learn about the lumbar vertebra. So from your knowledge of anatomy, you know that a vertebra consists of a body and transverse processes and a posterior spine and superior and inferior articular processes. So these basic elements are same throughout all the vertebrae except for some changes in their shape and size and orientation relative to each other. So lumbar vertebrae are 5 in number. 1 to 4 are called as the typical lumbar vertebrae and the fifth one is called as the atypical lumbar vertebra. When you compare this vertebra to the cervical or the thoracic vertebrae, you will see some obvious differences. Cervical vertebrae have been taught to you in the recent past. You know that the transverse foramina in the cervical vertebrae contain, the transverse processes in the cervical vertebrae contain transverse foramina, which you obviously cannot see here. And on comparing it to the thoracic vertebrae, you will be able to see a long spine-like posterior process. Okay, so that posterior process in thoracic vertebrae is spinous, but here you cannot see that. So this club-shaped side-to-side flattened process is typical of a lumbar vertebra. So you will be able to see that the bulk of the body, shape of the posterior process, and small side-to-side transverse processes, they are very indicative of a lumbar vertebra. It is a very identifiable vertebra. So first of all, let's look at the body. The body of the lumbar vertebra is oval in the shape, side-to-side oval, which means that the transverse diameter is much higher than the anterior-posterior diameter of the body. So this is seen in the lumbar vertebra. If you look the body from the side, you will see certain concavity on the anterior side and the posterior side as well. And is in the overall shape, you can see that the curve is pronounced on anterior and the sides, and posteriorly it can be slightly flattened, giving rise to an almost triangular shaped vertebral foramen. If you look at the body from the sides, you will not see any facets for the costal attachments, which are typically seen in the thoracic vertebrae. So without any costal facets, having an oval body with a large transverse diameter, with a smaller anterior-posterior diameter, giving the appearance of a rectangle, this will be seen in the lumbar vertebra. The size of the lumbar vertebra increases from L1 to L5. This gives rise to the shape of lumbar lordosis in human posture. And the size of the vertebral foramen becomes very small compared to what the size of vertebral foramen you have seen in cervical and in the thoracic vertebrae. These are the pedicles or the attachment pillars where the entire posterior neural arch elements are going to join with the anterior vertebral body elements. So these pedicles are present on the posterolateral ends and are directed backwards. So this is from the top view. When you look at it from the side, you will be able to see that the pedicles are located more towards the superior end of the body compared to the inferior end. Can you observe it? This is a very important identifying feature which will help you to determine which is the superior surface versus the inferior surface. So always notice the attachment of the pedicles. It is more towards the superior side, whereas the spines are directing downwards. This rule is pretty much the same for what you have learned in cervical vertebrae and thoracic vertebrae as well. So the pedicles in case of the lumbar vertebra are short, stout and strong, and the space between the two adjacent lumbar vertebrae, if they join to each other like this, wait a second, yeah, so if we join two vertebrae together with leaving some space for the intervertebral disc, this is where you can see is the formation of an intervertebral foramen, which is obviously contributed more by the vertebra above, क्योंकि इसका पेडिकल ऊपर की ओर जुड़ा था, नीचे की स्पेस खाली थी, when compared to the vertebra below, क्योंकि इसका पेडिकल यहाँ ऊपर की ओर जुड़ा है. So this is the formation of intervertebral foramen from where the spinal nerves are going to exit. So this is where you can see that. Now we come to the discussion of all the processes, the neural arch elements. So जैसे कि आप देख सकते हैं that this flattened one is the lamina These are the superior articulating processes, these are the inferior articulating processes, and these towards the side are the transverse processes. So when the vertebrae form the joint, I'll go to it again, you can see that the lamina are going to overlap. So yes, this is the lamina of the superior vertebra coming and overlapping the superior articulating processes of the inferior vertebra. So this is where you can see. So, but the amount of lamina overlap is minimal in case of lumbar vertebrae if compared to the vertebrae which were at the thoracic level. This is the spine of the lumbar vertebra. It is directed posteriorly. It is located more to the inferior half of the vertebral body. It's not towards the superior half, right? So as I've told you in the cervical vertebrae itself, that all the posterior processes, all the spines are going to slant downwards. This rule is very well followed here as well. And this is the club shaped spine in case of the lumbar vertebra. You can see these are its two side to side surfaces. This is its upper border, this is its posterior blunt border, and this is its inferior border. You can observe it here. So this is the spine. These are the superior articulating processes and the inferior articulating processes. If they are articulating processes, they are obviously forming a joint. So where are the joint forming surfaces? If you see the superior articular surfaces, this is the joint forming surface. This on the superior articular process, yeah. And on the inferior articular processes, they are directed anteriorly. So now you can see the superior articular processes are directed posteriorly, and the inferior articular processes, they are directed anteriorly. So this is how they will form the joint, the adjacent vertebrae. Inferior articulating processes directed anteriorly, forming the joint, with the superior articular processes of the vertebra below directed posteriorly, like this. Now we come to the transverse processes. These transverse processes are much smaller in length when compared to the transverse processes present in the thoracic vertebrae. One thing you should know that from embryological origin, these transverse processes are not the true transverse processes. As you were told in the case of cervical vertebra, developmentally there are two kinds of processes that are seen. One is a transverse process element, other is the costal element at the stage of vertebral development. So the transverse process in the adult lumbar vertebra are the representative of the costal elements. Okay, so the transverse process that you are able to see are the representative of the costal element. And if you see the accessory projection over here, you can see this accessory projection. This is actually the representative of the true transverse process. सो लंबा वर्टेब्रा के केस में ट्रू ट्रांसवर्स प्रोसेस सिर्फ इस छोटी सी प्रोजेक्शन के रूप में रह जाता है, एंड दिस इज एक्चुअली द कॉस्टल एलिमेंट जो कि एक ट्रांसवर्स प्रोसेस के रूप में प्रेजेंट करता है. I forgot to tell you one thing, that these small projections in the superior articulating process, they are called as the mammillary bodies. These are the mammillary bodies. You can see it from over here. These little projections, these are called as the mammillary bodies. These are accessory transverse processes, which are actually the true transverse processes, and these are the costal element giving rise to the transverse process in the case of a lumbar vertebra. So the transverse processes decrease in length as we go from L1 vertebra downwards, but this trend is not regular. L1 से L3 तक जाते हुए लेंथ थोड़ी थोड़ी इंक्रीज होती है और L3 से L5 तक जाते हुए लेंथ डिक्रीज होती है. So anterior surface of these transverse processes are going to present with ridges. You can see the ridge here. It is because of the muscular attachments, which I'll tell you about later. So before moving to the muscular attachments in the ribs, let's just see the atypical rib. Wait, I don't have a single atypical rib, but yes, जैसे कि मैंने आपको बताया था that L5 is the atypical rib. This is the example of an atypical rib. This you just have to look and observe this one. The main difference between L5 vertebra and a normal lumbar vertebra lies in the transverse processes. जैसे कि you can see the transverse processes of a normal lumbar vertebra are small and directed towards the side, whereas the transverse processes of L5 vertebra, they are bulky, projecting backwards. Another difference, if you see here, you can see that the superior articulating processes are further apart from each other compared to the inferior articulating processes. This does not hold true for the L5 vertebra. If you look at it, the inferior articulating processes are almost at the same gap or width when compared to the superior articulating processes. So this is a very big indicator of it being an L5 vertebra. So articulated processes dekhne hain, that they are further apart, and you have to look at the transverse process, which is big and bulky. Okay, so this is an L5 vertebra, how it will present. At times, this L5 vertebra can be fused with the sacrum as well, as we can see in this example. So in our discussion of the sacrum, I will tell you what this phenomena is called. But even if you forget this part is still the L5 vertebra with the bulkier transverse processes, side to side extended body, and inferior articular processes being further apart when compared to rest of the lumbar vertebrae. Now let's look at the attachments. Lumbar vertebrae, as you know, are a part of the posterior abdominal wall. So let's just see the attachments here. If you observe this diagram, you are able to see that this is the lumbar vertebra. ये पीछे की ओर आता हुआ इसका spinous process. These are the transverse processes. So what happens in the various gaps? I hope you are able to identify this. This is the kidney. I hope you are able to identify this. This is the kidney, and this is just a loop of the intestine, but you have to focus here. Let's just keep a real vertebra. So just observe this angle between the transverse process and the body. What is it filled with? So posteriorly, this area is filled with erector spinae muscles. Okay, so between the spine and the transverse process, this area is filled with erector spinae muscle. Anteriorly, between the body and the spine, this area is filled with the muscle psoas major, and laterally, from the last 1/3 of the transverse process to its tip, this muscle is called as the quadratus lumborum. So these are the attachments across all the sides of the lumbar vertebra. There are obviously multiple parts of the erector spinae muscle which are joined to multiple parts of the vertebra, which we will see later. But I want you to right now observe this black line. This black line actually represents thoracolumbar fascia. This thoracolumbar fascia is a very important topic, and it is divided into various laminae depending upon the layers as they arrive and split to enclose various muscles. So obviously this will be the anterior most layer of the thoracolumbar fascia. This will be the middle layer splitting and enclosing quadratus lumborum. आपको ये दिख रहा है यहाँ से. And this will be the posterior layer of thoracolumbar fascia extending onto the erector spinae. So just remember this diagram for your future references. Okay, now coming back to our vertebra. So as you can see, this is the transverse process, and in this area you will imagine psoas major, in this area you will imagine quadratus lumborum, and in this zone you will have to imagine the erector spinae present. Let's just see the anterior side of the transverse process to see if we can observe any ridges or not. We definitely can observe them. You can see it here. This ridge, this demarcates the area of psoas major attachment compared to the quadratus lumborum attachment. If you look at the posterior side and look at these transverse processes which are present as accessory transverse processes in case of lumbar vertebra, there can be intertransverse muscles between the vertebrae above and the vertebrae below. There even can be intermammillary muscles between the mammillary processes above and the mammillary processes below. All these muscles contribute to the erector spinae group, which consists of multifiid muscles, bifiid muscles and longissimus muscles, iliocostalis and other elements like this. So they are joined and collectively they are called as erector spinae. So this zone belongs to erector spinae, and anteriorly the medial side of the transverse process and the body gives attachment to psoas major, and on the lateral side of the transverse process you will have attachment of the quadratus lumborum. So when you come back to your classes, you will be able to see all these vertebrae in person. So you should get the various examples and compare them with each other. And last words for the vertebra. So you can see bulky body, club shaped spines, posterior processes, superior articulating process directed posteriorly, and inferior articulating processes directed anteriorly. So this would form a representation of a lumbar vertebra.